Today's class is going to be slightly different. I'm going to start off by showing you an application of setting up equations involving consecutive integers, and then I am going to assign some problems from this video lesson that you're going to work on independently. I will leave the Zoom lesson open for answering questions, and you'll need to submit the problems by the end of the class. So let's try it this way for today. To start off with, I'm going to talk about consecutive integers, and they're integers that follow each other in counting order: 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, and so on. We're going to find three consecutive integers whose sum is 84. We're going to set up an equation and solve. Now, there is a shortcut to this type of problem, but we need to learn how to do this by setting up an equation. So we'll start with identifying variables. We're going to let n equal our first number, n plus 1 equal our second number, and n plus 2 equal our third number. Now that we have identified our variables, we'll set up an equation. It will look something like this. N, that's our first number, n plus 1, our second number, plus n plus 2, our third number, means equals 84. There's our equation. Well, we've been solving multi-step equations, so we know we need to combine like terms. N plus n plus n is 3n, and 1 plus 2 is 3. Now, anytime we're looking for three consecutive numbers, it's always going to start off with this expression 3n plus 3. If I was looking for 2, it would be 2n plus 1, and we'll talk about others like even and odds as well. Now that I have the equation set up, I need to subtract 3 on both sides. That leaves me with 3n is equal to 81. And lastly, divide by 3. When I divide by 3, I get 27. Now 27 is my first number, which means plus 1 would be 28, plus 2 would be 29. Never take for granted that we have the right answer. Let's go ahead and add. 9 plus 8 is 17, plus 7. And, I'm sorry, put down 4. And 17 is 24. And then I have 2 plus 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 8. And there we go. It worked. So my three numbers are 27, 28, and 29. Let's try a second problem. Find two consecutive integers that have a sum of 157. I'm looking only for 2 this time, so I have n as my first number, and n plus 1 more is my second. If I take this and write this in equation form, I combine like terms, so when I'm dealing with two numbers, I have 2n plus 1 is always going to be my expression. I'll subtract 1. That leaves me with 2n is equal to 156. And lastly, divide by 2. Leaves me 14, and 1 is 78. So 78 and 79, if I add them together, gives me 157. So my two numbers are 78 and 79. What if I wanted 4? Well, it would be n is my first number, n plus 1 my second, n plus 2 my third, and n plus 3 my fourth. And you'd go ahead and solve. I'm hoping you're starting to recognize the flow of these. They may sometimes just ask you to find all three numbers, as in this problem. They may ask you to find the largest of the three numbers. So I would again do the same process. Now if I'm looking for 3, I know it's going to be 3n plus 3 equals 138. And then I'm going to find those three numbers, and when I look for that, my answer will be the largest of the three. So after we look at that, I'm going to now leave the video on, and you're going to solve the following problems. You can stop the video, copy the problems, and continue, but there will be a series of questions that I'm going to ask you to solve. I'm going to stay on the video, or the Zoom lesson, I'm sorry, and answer any questions, and you'll submit your work by the end of class. So again, you'll be all on the video, watching and writing down the problems. When you get to that last problem, you will submit. As you're working, if you have questions, feel free to put a question in the chat or unmute and ask a question. And have a great weekend and a happy Halloween.